Hey graphic designers, it's time to show you how to do the logo tutorial. Alright, so I'm going to start with a new project here in Adobe Illustrator. This is different. It's not Photoshop this time. We're going to go to File and New. Now I plugged in some different sizes here. You can just make it on a letter size project and that would be just fine. I'm going to do mine a little bit differently so you can kind of see everything closer up here as I'm doing it. So to start off with, I'm going to go to the Google Classroom site. I'm going to click on this link. I'm going to scroll down to the part where it has the path right here. So this would be like you draw your logo out, take a picture, put it in the computer, and you're going to copy and paste, Control V, or edit paste, and paste it into your project. Now for my purposes, it's a little bit bigger than my area, so I'm going to size it down here. You can also use this tool, the free transform tool. That should do it. Now when I size it up and down, I hold shift so it stays in the same perspective. Now the tools that you're going to need for this are going to be the pen tool, and the way this works is you click and then you hold and click again, and it drags out these handles here. And one simple way to do this is to just trace out each one of these individual shapes, and then you're going to fill it with a gradient here. So fill it with a solid color, like that. Okay, click this. When I fill with a gradient, I click this, it'll fill the gradient here. It'll bring up the gradient menu here. And you can click on these colors here. Click on this flyout menu here for colors for RGB. I can select a different color like that. Change the opacity if I want to. And you can see it makes changes here. If I wanted to add a new color in the middle here, I could double click and change this with the sliders or click in here. Whatever is going to make the most sense for me and my project. You can also change the angle by typing in, some random number there, or you can select one of the one of these pre-selected things like that. So that's one way you can make each path using the pen tool. Another way is you can use the pencil shape and create kind of your rough outline of it. And that makes a shape too, but the outside lines are not very smooth. They actually have a smooth tool that comes with it, and you can click and drag a line and it'll actually smooth out the shape there like that, and it might reduce some points. Sometimes it's going to be easier to have a smoother shape if you reduce the number of anchor points. I do that by clicking on the pen tool, holding, and find delete anchor point, and then I can use the direct selection tool to adjust the handlebars so that they all fit. The direct selection tool also allows me to place the points more accurately on the path. And as you can see, I'm building up the shapes here and it's going pretty quickly. Now the method that they actually use in the tutorial is even more different than that. They start by outlining the whole shape and then using a tool called the Scissors tool, which is underneath the Eraser tool. I'm going to go ahead and draw the whole outside shape, and then I'll come back to the video and show you how to use the Scissors tool. To use the Scissor tool, we're going to locate it underneath the Eraser tool. So if we click and hold on the Eraser tool, we have the Scissors tool. Now with this drawing here, it gives us the points where they kind of connect here, and then we're going to draw that line in. So we're going to click there, and actually places a new point, but it slices it off there and snips that that line there. And we're going to click here on that point. Now we're going to click on this last point, so we're going to use the direct selection tool. We click on that point, hold Shift on the keyboard, and click on the last point for the other end of this. We right click and we join. Now that makes a straight line there connecting the 2 points. We need to put a point in between. We're going to do that using the pen tool. So we click and hold, add anchor point. So I just click an extra anchor point. I'm going to move that anchor point, direct selection tool. And then I'm going to round that line there using the convert anchor point. So I click and drag so that the arcing line creates that nice smooth shape like he has in his design. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So, scissors tool, cut, cut, direct selection tool, select, hold Shift select, right click, join, add anchor point, direct selection tool, move anchor point, and convert anchor point. So it makes that nice smooth curve. I'm going to keep doing that. Scissors tool, cut, cut, select, hold Shift, select, right click on the point, join, add anchor point, direct selection tool, move the anchor point, and convert anchor point to make it a curve. One more, scissors tool, cut, cut, select the points, select, hold Shift select, join, right click, add anchor point in the middle, move anchor point with direct selection, and finally convert anchor point. So have a nice smooth curve there. Okay, there I have my lines. Now each one of these is a separate shape, so if I switch it and I go to my fill color, I can select this gradient here, and I can adjust my gradient however I see fit, and just go through and select each of the shapes here. Now as I'm clicking through, I'm noticing I'm having a problem because some of these are not complete shapes here. So for instance, that path and that path are not cut together there. So I might have to join some of these paths together and make them into shapes. So let's start with this first one. So click on that endpoint, hold Shift, click on that endpoint, right click, join, add anchor point, move the anchor point, convert the anchor point, just like we did with the other ones. And you'll start to see if I fill this, that it has that. Now I need to continue to do that for the rest of these, and you'll see that when I come back to the picture in a minute. Okay, as you see, I've finished joining the paths so that each shape is its own shape. It's filled in. I would still have to go through and kind of adjust the colors so they're kind of closer to the intended target on the tutorial. But to finish up here, we're going to type in our text, scale it up, and we're going to convert this text, like graphic designers do, into outlines. So we're going to go to Object, Path, and Outline. It hasn't been made into a path yet, so we actually go to Type and Create Outlines for the type. Now if you wanted to, and you wanted to make like your own text style and stuff like that, you could actually click on these and modify stuff by like moving points around if you wanted to. So you could make some interesting letter forms if you had that desire. You don't have to do that. That's just for fun. All right, after this, you'll use the same program, Adobe Illustrator, to make your own logo.